Because Jesus had something about it. Jesus was attractive. You know? He had something. And once they left, pretty much dropped their nets. Mind his family business. See you later, Dad. Followed him. And when he'd gone a little further, he saw James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John in a boat preparing their nets, for they were fishermen, right? Without delay, he called them, and they left their father Zebedee, you gotta go, Dad, in the boat with the hired men, and they followed Jesus. I don't think they had a clue what Jesus meant. I really don't. But the amazing thing is, by the end of the New Testament, these guys not only know what Jesus meant, they are full-fledged fishers of men and women. And they begin to share the message of Christ that Christ taught and preached. And God used them to relay Christ's message to a completely different generation of people. And this generation came to understand that it wasn't just enough to follow Jesus. Because to follow Jesus meant to fish. So they shared another group that followed and to fish. And that group shared to another group that to follow and to fish. And that group shared to follow and to fish, to follow and to fish, to follow and to fish. And you and I are here 2,000 years later because, well, we're here 2,000 years later. We're celebrating a Jewish carpenter. We're worshiping. This morning we worshiped a Jewish carpenter. And we're doing that not because people follow Jesus. We're worshiping a Jewish carpenter because a group of people understood that to follow Jesus is to fish. And that Jesus' followers fish. Because if all the disciples did was follow Jesus and hung around with him, you and I don't get him. You and I don't have this life-changing, transforming relationship with Christ. These guys, oh, by the way, they were terrible at their job at first. Right? I mean, story after story in the Bible of these guys messing up at fishing for people or at following Jesus. Remember when they were with the little kids? Little kids were with Jesus. You know, the little kids were on his lap and the disciples come around and go, kids, get out of here. Okay? Jesus is important. He's a busy man. Okay? You gotta go. But Jesus is like, come on, guys. Don't you get it? I'm fishing you. They're coming to me as children, which is like everyone has to, come to me. It's the heart of a child. Kids, you're acting. What are you guys doing? Oh, then one day they're arguing about who's going to be greatest. Remember that one? Which one of us is going to be greatest in the kingdom of heaven, guys? Don't be me. Nah, it's going to be me. No, it's me. Who are they arguing? They're arguing who's going to be greatest. Who are they having this argument in front of? Who's right there? Jesus. They are arguing about who's going to be greatest in the kingdom of heaven right in front of Jesus. That's like two ants arguing who's bigger in front of an elephant. Right? Then one time they try and cast out a demon, and the demon doesn't move. And so they come back to Jesus and they go, Jesus, we don't have the power to cast out this demon. Tell us what's wrong. And Jesus goes, did you pray? Well, actually, he probably didn't say it like that, that's sarcastic. But the disciples go, pray. Oh, I never thought of that. And we got to work on this whole fishing thing, God. But by the end of the story of the New Testament, by the end of the lives of these men, they had, and a bunch of other people from different walks of life, they get it. And they had become far more than followers of Jesus. They had become fishers of men and of women. And what we're going to discover in the next few weeks, we're going to take a couple weeks off, by the way. Next week is the joint service between our services. It starts at 11 o'clock. And the week after that, we have a guest speaker. But we're going to continue this series. And what we're going to find out in this series is that Jesus doesn't call us just to be better people. Jesus doesn't call us just to be better moms, dads, employees, and neighbors. He does call us to do that, but he doesn't call us to just do that. He doesn't call us just to be more ethical and spiritual or moral. And what he calls us to in this regard may be scary and and intimidating for you. But Jesus' goal for you is to follow and do in the lives of others what someone did in your life that explains why you're sitting here today. And I'm not assuming anything, but it's interesting that when we became Christians, we didn't become Christians because we wanted to fish for people. I mean, no one in this room said, I want to become a Christian because I want to fish for men. Most of us, if not all of us, became Christians for reasons that were very personal, even selfish. I became a Christian for a very selfish reason. My mom talked to me when I was 8 years old. She told me it happened at the lake. I don't remember it. But when I was 8 years old, she told me the story of how she was telling me about Jesus. And she told me that if Jesus lived in my heart and I accepted Jesus, I would go where when I died? Heaven. I accept Jesus. When I die, I go heaven. Good, heaven. Bad, some other place. Good, heaven. Didn't take much thought. And then she told me that the angels would have a party. If I accepted Christ, I'm like, party? I like parties. I'm going to heaven. Jesus, come on in. What else can you do for me? And some of you accepted Christ because you were at a point of crisis. Maybe your marriage was hurting. Maybe you were sick. Maybe you were at a place that just forced you down to your knees and said, Jesus, I need you to come in my life. I need you to transform me. I need you to transform my life. Would you please come into my heart? There are all kinds of blessings and advantages to being a Christian. I think being a Christian is great. I don't know how I would handle my kidneys failing if I was not a Christian. I've been to funeral after funeral after funeral because I'm a minister. I've conducted funerals for Christian services, and I've conducted funerals for people that have no Jesus in their life. And the funerals for people that did not know Jesus in their life are so depressing. Because there's no hope. Because they had nothing. And then I do funerals like I did for my grandma, who was 101 years old. She was one of the reasons I came to Christ too, because she wouldn't let me be a non-Christian. And her funeral was a party. It was a celebration. We were singing songs, we were clapping, we were praising God, because my grandma had Jesus. And there was hope, and there was joy. All kinds of blessings to be a Christian. And most of us, if not all of us, started following Jesus because of those blessings. Not because we wanted to be fishers of men, but because of what Jesus did to us, for us, what he promised us. But Jesus says to these four guys, and he says to you, and he says to me, he says, there's so much more to me than that. There's so much more to this. Yes, you get all the blessings. That's who I am to you. That takes place in your life between your birth and your death. But in addition to that, I take all of your life between birth and death. Your blessings and your troubles. And I'm going to use that. Okay? I'm going to use that and bring eternal value to your life and the lives of others, because it isn't just about bless me and protect me. All that temporary and temporal stuff that you experience in your life, the blessings and the troubles, well, they have eternal value if you will allow me to make you a fisher of men and women. I mean, isn't it true that most of the stuff that we pray for, and by the way, we have a wonderful prayer meeting every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Just check Facebook, and it will tell you where it is. I just want to encourage you to come out to that. It's a great time, and food is awesome too. But isn't it true that most of the stuff that we pray for is for the most part all about this life? I mean, if you think about it, your marriage is important. So you pray for your marriage, but eventually, you know, somebody's going to die. And that relationship is going to be over in this life. You know, you ask God to protect your family and your kids, but eventually every member of your family is going to die. So this life will end. You know, God help me out face it, once you're in the casket, your bank balance isn't a big issue for you. Maybe for your relatives it is, but not for you. I mean, don't try and buy a car once you're dead. But this stuff that we pray for mostly and we pray for stuff about this life. The things that we have so much passion about, our health, our family, our careers, and we pray so hard for God, please, 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 God, bless, 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 bless. It's all important, but only between